Hello and welcome. And before I say anything else, Happy New Year. Yes, finally, we are in the new year, and it is so good. It feels so good to be here in 2021. 2020 was such a long year. People made jokes about the fact that it had like 500 days or 566 days in 2020, but thankfully we're here. And if you're going to be grateful for anything, you should be grateful for life and the fact that you were able to see 2021. Thank you so much for being a part of every NG as always. And this is another exciting episode of Unplug, where of course we plug you into all the latest entertainment gist and updates from across the world. My name is Victor. Yes, same name 2020. It doesn't change 2021. And thank you very much for joining us today. And without wasting any more time, let's get right into the news that we got for today. Of course, we always have a story of the day. And for today's big story, it has to do with COVID-19 and the rumors of a new lockdown. What is it going to be? Are we going to be having another lockdown or not? Well, just ensure that you keep it locked to find out. But before all of that, let's go right into the entertainment news that we have for you today. First and foremost, let's talk about Laycon. Now, Laycon is the first on a long list of the BBnaija lockdown housemates who are in the news for different reasons. But we'll start off with Laycon, who earned himself a chieftaincy title during the holidays from his hometown in Ogun State. So Laycon is not just a BBnaija winner, he's not just brand ambassador and so many other things going on for him. Laycon is now also a chief, a titled chief. Well, this is the latest in a long line of wins for the young man, and we just want to say congratulations to him. And we hope that he, continues to add more feathers to his cap. All right, that is that. Let's move on now, and let's talk V this time, who was of course one of Laycon's closest friends in the BBnaija lockdown house. For a bit of perspective, Bobrisky was on social media some time ago and was talking about how women should go out to make money, talk about different things and just do anything you want to do to hustle. He was making particular references to a few, well, maybe inappropriate things I cannot exactly talk about now. Well, it was on social media. This time, V was talking about it and she made a tweet about people hustling, making their money in 2021 and how money does not define her own success and happiness. So one of our fans under the comments now asked a question, so does that mean I should not follow Bobrisky's advice? And she replied to the fan and said, well, you might decide to follow Bobrisky's advice or not. It depends on what works for you. It might work for you, it might not work for you. And I think that is food for thought. And she ended it with hustle how you know, or hustle the way you know how to. All right, so I think that's food for thought for everybody. Just ensure what you're doing, in my opinion, is legit business. You're hustling legitimately, you're doing good, you are earning an honest living. That's how I see it. All right, well, that is food for thought from V. And now let's talk Erica. Erica now has a mini Erica. And when I say that, you might be thinking she had a baby of her own, but no, one of her very, very loyal fans went all out to show love for Erica by naming her baby after her. And it was on Twitter where this fan announced the birth of a baby and announced the fact that she named her baby after her very, very big model or icon, whatever it is, Erica. And Erica responded and said how happy she was for her and also thanked her for the gesture. Well, that is how it is when you become a big star, you become an icon. People start thinking of naming their children after you. Well, anyways, congratulations to the mother of the child. Now, let's move on from Erica now, and it's time to talk Tochi. Tochi is not really in the news as much as others, but this time he's in the news, and not even really about himself, but about others. Or maybe not, maybe about both. And this time Tochi said that he sees so many weddings springing up from BBnaija lockdown edition. And it gets me wondering, okay, so many weddings, like how many pairs how many couples were in the house. And you can mention one or two, Vino, Erica Kidwire, but we don't even know if those couples are going to actually tie knots and get married. But he's saying he's seen lots of weddings. We can only wait, keep our fingers crossed, and see what exactly happens with that bit of information that Tochi decided to share. All right. Now let's move away from the lockdown housemates. Still talking BBnaija, but this time Mercy, aka the winner of the Pepper Dem Gang edition. Now Mercy decided to share a piece of advice with Nigerian youths, and it has to do with the situation of unemployment and all of that in the country and education, as it were. And she said, as a young person, you have to learn a skill. Don't just rely on your education alone. You have to learn a skill, because the system does not particularly help graduates. Those were Mercy's words. The system does not help graduates. So apart from the fact that you are educated in a particular field and you have certificates and all of that, you should also learn a skill that you could use to survive. And this is not the first time we'll be talking about this. It's quite important. As a young person, learn a skill. It could really, really come in handy sometime and help you thrive. All right. So more food for thought from Mercy, and that is that. Let's move away from BBnaija now. Let's talk other bits of entertainment, and this time music, where Chike was in the news over the weekend for the wrong reasons. Igbo people attacked him after a tweet that he made and said or suggested that people should stop traveling to the east during the Yuletide season, during the Christmas/New Year periods. People should stop traveling to the east, and he used some kinds of words, derogatory words, that a lot of people found offensive. Well, he eventually deleted the tweets and apologized publicly with another tweet and said that he made that tweet in a very emotional state. He was talking about the bad state of the roads that lead to and from those eastern areas, and he said he actually lost 2 friends in an accident on one of those really terrible roads, and it was in that particular emotional state he made that tweet, and he apologized for offending people. A lot of people came all out to say they're cancelling Chike, they're deleting his songs, and this and that. Well, he apologized, and we hope that all the people who came after him take that apology in good faith and just move on. No need to cancel anybody as such. All right, and feel free to travel if you have to. All right, moving away from Chike now to more serious issues. Electricity has been hiked. The price of electricity has been hiked. There's no need to paint it anyway. There's no euphemism I can use, but electricity tariff has been hiked by 50%, and this was announced by the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission, NERC. And well, it does not really sit down with a lot of people, because not long ago it was hiked by a particular amount, and now again it's another 50% hike that took effect from the 1st of January. And well, we do not really know, or we cannot exactly say what this portends for the near future, but whether or not they put other plans to mitigate this particular hike, we do not know. But trust Nigerians, we're going to keep moving on with our lives, we'll keep adapting and all of that. Somebody even made a joke about buying more candles, and I was wondering, will you charge your phone with candles? Anyways, let's move on from that now to the big story for today. Updates on the rumored fresh lockdown. So many people have been saying that there's a high possibility that there's going to be another lockdown, because there has been a serious hike in the number of COVID-19 cases that are being detected every single time in different parts of the country. Just on Sunday, there were 917 new cases. 917, almost 1,000. So many people are testing positive for the virus. So a lot of people have been saying, wow, the government is probably going to impose another lockdown. But Nigeria's Minister for Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, came out to say the government has no intentions to impose another lockdown, but then people just have to be careful. You have to be careful, ensure that you follow all the guidelines and protocol. Mask up, sanitize, wash your hands, social distancing and all of that. Not gathering in crowded places. Just do what you have to do. We do not want to impose another lockdown, because we have the interests of the people and the economy and all of that at heart. But to make it easy for us, just do what you have to do, all right? Be safe. And that is also my message to you. Be safe, all right? Use your masks. It's not a myth. The virus is actually real, okay? Now, to prove this to you, let's talk about a couple of celebrities who have come out to admit that they had to deal with the virus. Paul Okoye just admitted that he has been dealing with the virus for the past 10 days. A long time to, be going through this thing. And, isolation has to be for 2 weeks and all of that, just to be sure that this and that. Of course, you have heard all of it, you know the drill. He came out to admit that for the past 10 days, he has been dealing with it. You can imagine in the festive period. And he has family as well. Now, it's not just Paul Okoye. Ali Baba, of course, the popular comedian, also shared his story, how he had to be taken to the isolation center and how he even saw people die. He made a video about this and tried to warn people about how serious this thing is. A lot of people are still joking. A lot of people are still saying there's no COVID-19 out there. But he came out to warn Nigerians to be very careful. Throughout the Christmas and New Year period, he was in isolation. So he made that video just to let you know that the virus is real and you have to stay safe. You cannot keep, saying the same thing over and over for risk of sounding like a broken record, but just do what you have to do to keep yourself and others safe as well. Now, let's move on from all of that. Let's talk CC. CC recently rejected a deal worth 8 million naira. And she gave her reasons. The deal was proposed by a company that markets or sells Kayamata products. All these things that have to do with body enhancements, aphrodisiacs, and all of that. And she said, well, she likes money, but she has certain standards, she has certain moral principles that she's not going to go against just because of the money. And she said, she just put out a warning to not just the company that brought the deal, but to other companies who might want to employ her services, that she does not do business with those kinds of brands. If it has to do with Kayamata or anything, aphrodisiacs or whatnot, body enhancements, she does not do all those things. So, flash a warning to all of you, CC does not do such business, all right? So that is that. Let's move away now and let's talk sports. Yesterday was Southampton at home at St. Mary's against Liverpool, top of the league. But it did not go according to plan for the guys from Merseyside as they lost the game to Southampton by a lone goal. Interestingly, from a former Liverpool striker, Danny Ings, and the goal came inside the first 2 minutes of the game. And despite Liverpool's dominance in the second half, they could not find a way through. And it ended 1-0 in Southampton's favour. That throws the door wide open. At the top of the table, you have the likes of Manchester United and Manchester City breathing down the neck of Liverpool. So we'll see what happens in the next round of fixtures. All right, moving away from that now, let's talk boxing to wrap it up. Anthony Joshua, our very own Naija UK boy, of course, defended his title recently against the guy from Bulgaria, Kurapulev. And he has another mandatory challenger that he has to negotiate before the big unification bout against Tyson Fury. But then, to add fuel to the fire, Tyson Fury came out recently and said that he's going to knock out Anthony Joshua in 2 rounds. Okay, Anthony Joshua probably did not take it well, and he's planning to find a way to maneuver that next mandatory fight that he has, and then go straight and fight Tyson Fury. I mean, all this big talk, let's just settle it in the ring, right? That's what Anthony Joshua is trying to do. Whether or not that will work, we do not know yet. Of course, there's promoters, there's the institutions, and all of that. So we'll see how it goes. But of course, my money will always be behind Anthony Joshua any day, any time. Of course, brotherly bias or whatever you want to call it. But that is that about that. And that is all we have for you on Unplug for today. Thank you so much for making the first episode for the year 2021 a blast. As always, it is always a pleasure to be here. And until next time, my name remains Victor, and this is Every NG. Goodbye.